I did want to skip over to Eredivisie. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but give it my best shot. Ajax takes on Feyenoord. In this one, they get goals from their 4 big attacking players. Lily Johannes in the 12th, Rome Luchter in the 48th off of PK, Tini Hoekstra in the 52nd, and Chastity Grant in the 63rd. Great tune-up match for Ajax against 9th place Feyenoord, heading into a big March where they have a massive date with first placed FC 20, who's currently sitting at 15 wins out of 15 matches played. So they're dominating, currently 12 points ahead of second place Ajax, who does have a game in hand, and the chance to notch a crucial 3 points against the league leaders. That one's going down Sunday, March 3rd, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, so we'll have to set our alarms for that one. Couple weeks ahead of their Champions League date with Chelsea. That one takes place on the 19th of March, 1:45 p.m. Eastern. But we're winding back to this one. Any big takeaways?
Well, you made me raise my eyebrows a little bit. So let me just say, because I care about you, buddy, that if you were to call an Ajax Feyenoord match a tune-up match for Ajax,
yes,
I'm pretty sure Feyenoord fans would want to physically fight you. Der Klassiker, I think, I don't purport myself to be any kind of expert in Dutch football. I think it's the biggest rivalry they have over there. So to our pals in Rotterdam, Dino's a man who speaks actual factuals, and this one looked like a tune-up match because 4-0, Ajax never looks like losing. And, you know, we got to talk about it. The Johannes goal, the chip in, I got to get your thoughts on it because I'm trying to decide. I think the best part about the goal, I mean, so the chip is incredible, but she runs into the open space. Like she spots it way, way early. And now, you know, you could say perhaps there was some poor defending on that one, the fact that she had that much open space to run into, but she spots it at the right time. She gets right into to attacking position, and she's kind of colliding with a defender when she makes the chip. From your perspective, from the way you saw the shot come off her boot, to the keeper's reaction, to Johannes's reaction when the ball goes in, do you think that was an intentional chip?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely do. I've seen her in a couple domestic matchups. She's not afraid to kind of like give it a whirl, you know, and I think in this one, they had the game pretty well in control. It was the right play in that moment. I think she was surprised because that's a tough shot to finish. You know, she kind of one-times it and also chips it, had, you know, some loop to it. To me, that didn't cross my mind that it might have been something else that she might have been trying to do, maybe a cross or something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just a weird spot and a weird angle to attempt a chip, but maybe that could just be my caveman footballing brain that I'm not creative enough to. That could be, you know, right back brain for me, where I'd be like, why would I ever try something like that? Because I was never physically capable of anything even remotely close to that. So, okay, I think you might be right. We may have a source close who might be able to tell us whether that was an intentional chip or not. We'll see. I'll stand by for that. But I want to point out another play that didn't end up being a goal, but Sharita Spezza had like a 40 plus yard long ball to Tini Hoekstra later in the match. And it was a bomb. It was basically a Hail Mary. Spezza hits it fucking perfectly. Hoekstra has to make a leaping touch of it, and she just got a little too much of it that allowed Weimar, Feyenoord's goalkeeper, to dive onto it. But I just loved that they're like, all right, we're out here trying shit, going back to your tune-up match point, where they're just like, okay, they're trying things and they're going to go extra creative on this because they have their eyes not just set on their own league, which is going to be a little bit of an uphill climb for them to get there, but they have a big old prize in front of them in the Champions League. And I think they have to just be going out there going like, okay, well, if we're going to figure this out, if we're going to have to beat some of these giants in the Champions League, we're going to have to figure out some new wrinkles to our play.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the Spezza long ball, you know, we saw her at a goal from like pretty much the halfway line a couple weeks back.
Yep.
Her just firing the cannon is quickly becoming one of my favorite plays in all of women's football, just to see her kind of wind up and just take a massive crack at it. I think that could be something that they look at just because she's got that in her bag from back there.
Hell yeah.
She's a nasty defender. You know, I mean, she's going to make it a long 90 minutes for anybody. But then you kind of take advantage of her ball skills, and you also kind of take advantage of like Hoekstra specifically, giving her a chance to kind of run. Chastity Grant as well too, Luchter as well. I mean, like if you could give them
Yeah.
space, like I don't know, that's a new angle, a new wrinkle that I think is really interesting.
You mentioned Rome Luchter. Man, she looked fucking 100% confident when she buried her penalty. Never a doubt. Never a single doubt on that one. And then the Hoekstra goal to make it 3-0. We got to mention the Wonder Kid again. Johannes played such a picture-perfect through ball to get the ball to Hoekstra for that assist. We have limited options watching the Dutch league over here in the US. So I'm watching a stream on YouTube. I'm watching the Dutch, a Dutch feed of it. Obviously, no American announcers on there or English speaking announcers on there. But when Johannes makes the through ball, the Dutch announcer just goes ah, and like he loved that through ball, and he should have. That's a man with great taste. It was a genius assist by Johannes, and then Hoekstra, she does what she does to make the finish.
Buried the finish too. That was on point. But that's another reason why I think Lily Johannes definitely, her football IQ is, we're still calculating the number on that.
Yeah.
Just because you just see her do stuff that's like, oh man, like we're watching the game from a camera 50 yards in the air, right? So we can see the whole field, right? So it's kind of easy to see, okay, the ball should go this way. All right, here's what we can expect. She very routinely fakes me out. Where I'm just like, my eyes are going this way, the ball's going the other way. I'm like, oh, of course the ball needs, and it's like that. It just feels pretty rare. So that pass that you mentioned, genius, perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, hell yeah. That is an amazing core that, we've talked about. Like when we talk about the highlights of this match, it's Chastity Grant, it's Rome Luchter, it's Johannes, and it's Spitza. That's a tough group of players to go into a match against. And then, Chelsea has to come to Amsterdam to beat them. They're in for a tough challenge. We mentioned it before. I'm not just trying to be an English football hater and just, as I try to say, City could win the league over Chelsea also. But I think if you asked anybody on Chelsea, they'd be like, yeah, we cannot take this lightly. We would be in huge trouble if we took this lightly.
I mentioned it on our draw episode. I think that's the most even match.
Yep.
Chelsea and Ajax. I think that one is going to go right down to the wire just because I think Ajax can kind of muck it up. Spitza back there is just so good.
Yep.
DeSanders on the other side, a little younger, but great energy, great motor, and I think getting better pretty consistently. I had been thinking that PSG and BK Häcken was going to be a little interesting coming out of that Lyon match. If they play like that, we might be able to just pencil them in into the semis.
Might be a tough day for Häcken, but I don't know. I mean, let our pals up in Sweden talk shit to us if we're counting Häcken out, because great crowd in Gothenburg. But yeah, man, the more I watch PSG, the more confident we get. But this is football. At the end of the day, after what we've seen Häcken's defense be able to do, and I think you were mentioning this in the last pod, if we do come out and see a smothering Häcken performance on defense, are we allowed to be that surprised?
No, definitely not. And I think PSG, they did the same thing against Bayern.
Yep.
Where it was just like, we need a breakaway. We need one on whoever. Let's go do it. Baltimore, Chewinga, Gayoro, whoever's got the best look. It's kind of like the old U.S. Women's National Team style. It's just like, all right, make it happen. And, Chewinga also had the breakthrough goal against Lyon. I think that's just going to, I'm about to dust off another U.S. cliche. The old bend but don't break.
Yes.
We'll see the validity of that on the Häcken side. But that's still a few weeks away.